Hello everyone, this is Dr. Jawad. Thank you for turning to my page. And if you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button down below. And next to it is the bell notification, because when I upload videos like this, you'll be first to be notified. Thank you. And if you're watching on Facebook, I always appreciate a bigger audience. If you find this information valuable, please share with a friend. And also, 2 seconds, hit the like button. If you want to schedule me for a free 15-minute consultation, there is a link down below. Click the link to my webpage on the upper right-hand corner. Book a consultation, follow the instructions, and let's see if we can chat and see if I can help you out with your situation. Thanks for watching the video, and I always appreciate your support. Thank you. Hello everyone, this is Dr. Jawad. In the short video, I'm going to talk about the adrenal system, which is the adrenal system helps regulate how our bodies adapt to stress. They're also coined as the pharmacy of the body because they help control or monitor the salt, the sugar, the sex hormones, and also, too, most importantly, our fight or flight response called the catecholamines. Now, adrenal fatigue, if you're experiencing adrenal fatigue, basically you're just wiped out all the time. There's no amount of rest you could have. Your drive is low. You're more susceptible to getting sick because your immune system is shot. You have no sex drive whatsoever, and again, you just can't do anything due to either stress, lack of sleep, diet, because you have a lot of processed foods. That also too will zap the adrenal system. Now, the adrenal glands, we have 2 of them, and they're the size is about roughly the size shape of a quarter, and they sit on top of the kidneys. Now, again, they help regulate how our bodies respond to stress. They're also coined the pharmacy of the body because the adrenal glands, they have basically two sections. They have an outer cortex and they have an inner medulla. Now, the outer cortex, that has 3 different zones, and the outer zone helps regulate our minerals. Hence, it's called the mineralocorticoids. This is our aldosterone. This is the salt, the minerals, and so forth and so on. The middle layer is the glucocorticoids, and that main ingredient is cortisol. This is our stress hormone, cortisol. The inner layer is the gonadocorticoids. Now, what those are, they're typically deemed as the androgens. The DHEAS, our progesterones, our testosterones, our estrogens, and then you have an intersection, which is the medulla. Now, this helps control our catecholamines, that's our fight or flight response. That's the dopamine, norepinephrine, and epinephrine response. Now, remember, the adrenal glands help regulate how our body responds to stress. So in times of stress, you're going to have a lot of the mineral imbalances, mainly salt and potassium. Now, in times of acute stress, let me back up a little bit. The common ratio, what I see a lot of when I do in blood labs, is low sodium and high potassium. This is due to, when I see this, I know their adrenals are weak. So when somebody has acute stress, what happens is that they're going to start dumping a lot of potassium. Why? Because potassium is a natural buffer. Potassium helps buffer the urine, and also to our body, so it's not so acidic, because what happens in times of acute stress, what increases? Our cortisol levels increase, So potassium is needed to help buffer the urine because why? Because cortisol is very catabolic. It creates a very acidic environment. So what I find is that if doing blood labs, if there's low potassium and high sodium, then I know that when the person got this blood test done, they were in times of acute stress. So this typically leads to like heart palpitations, headaches, and mood issues. And now with potassium, as a mineral, we need 4,700 milligrams of potassium per day. Sodium, we only need 1,500 milligrams of sodium per day. So you have basically a 3-to-1 ratio from potassium to sodium, So in times of chronic stress, what happens then I see low sodium and then high potassium. Why? Because again, when in times of chronic stress, the aldosterone, that works on the distant convoluted tubules in the nephron and the kidney system to help, again, balance out the sodium levels. And then what happens when sodium starts to get dumped out or whatever, water follows. So this is where it's hard to maintain blood pressure. This is where you get brain fog. This is where also too you get a lot fatigued because you're dumping out a lot of sodium out of the system. And this is all controlled by the adrenals. So what happens when you're so stressed out? Okay, cortisol levels are through the roof. Your sex drive is gone. Okay, and the core of it in the medulla, because the catecholamines, this is the fight or flight response. This is the adrenaline response. The epinephrine, norepinephrine. But what makes those is dopamine. About 80% of dopamine is made in the adrenal glands, which dopamine is made, turns into norepinephrine, then turns into epinephrine, and this is your fight or flight response through the sympathetic nervous system. This is why in times of stress, all your systems are shut down. You don't want to do anything. Your sex drive is gone. Your cortisol levels are through the roof. Chronic inflammation, belly fat, breakdown, muscle weakness, okay? This is where chronic fatigue, mood changes, insulin resistance can be caused due to the fact that you have chronic stress. So what do you do, okay? What do you do? Now, first and foremost, I always recommend change your diet. You want to stay off the gluten, the wheat, the dairy, the sugar, the soy, the peanuts. Those are the pro-inflammatory foods, all right? Increase your water intake because, again, if you're flushing out all the sodium, you want to help replenish it with the water. Now, supplements, this is just a handful of supplements that I recommend. Again, the goal of these supplements is to help stabilize the adrenal glands and help balance out how the system is working. Licorice root, phenomenal because it's an adaptogen. Also, too, licorice root helps stabilize the androgens, the DHEA in particular. Rhodiola rosea and ashwagandha, those two herbs are phenomenal. I've talked about those a lot. That helps with the adrenal system because also it helps tie in with the thyroid. Magnesium glycinate. Magnesium is, when in times of stress, our bodies burn through a lot of magnesium and vitamin C. So what happens, so I always recommend taking magnesium glycinate. Start with 200 milligrams before bedtime and see where it goes. Okay, vitamin C. Vitamin C is phenomenal for the immune system, yes, but also for the mitochondria. So in times of stress, our mitochondria produces what's called ATP. That's our energy currency. And we need vitamin C to help with that reaction. So increase the vitamin C. I always recommend, depending on your body weight, 1,000 milligrams every hour on the hour for about 8 hours. Tyrosine. Tyrosine is phenomenal because amino acid, it's a protein, it's a precursor for dopamine. Also, it's a precursor for thyroid. Because when you're in times of stress, what happens? Dopamine is needed to produce norepinephrine and epinephrine for the fight or flight response, but tyrosine is also needed for the thyroid system. Selenium. Selenium is also too, again, it's great for the thyroid. It's great to help stabilize the system, with basically all the functions of your body. Now, what I recommend is two types of salts. Redmond's real salt. Okay, Redmond's real salt has over 35 different minerals, and I always recommend to take it all the time. You want to start off with a half a teaspoon daily, and you want to do about twice a day. Now, for people who have chronically low adrenal function, these are the slow wakers, okay? Or else these are the ones who are very stressed out. They have low blood pressure, so when they go from a sitting to a standing, they feel like they're going to they feel like they're going to pass out. What it is, it's poor adrenal function because the aldosterone ties in with the kidney system to help regulate the sodium levels, okay? And that's what controls the blood pressure. So taking Redmond sea salt, a half a tablespoon, or maybe like a teaspoon, first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, just wash it down with water, will help kickstart the adrenals. New salt. New salt is awesome because it's loaded with potassium chloride. Now, what I recommend, I always recommend taking 1,000 milligrams. Now, how much potassium do we need? We need 4,700 milligrams per day. So if you're experiencing a lot of chronic stress or adrenal fatigue, I always recommend whatever the level is, 4,700 milligrams, take another 1,000 milligrams on top of that. It's only going to help the system with adrenal fatigue. Okay, so hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Again, if you want to schedule a consultation, please go to my website, upper right-hand corner, book a free consultation with me for about 15 minutes. And again, it will walk you through the process. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time. Take care.